Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, the forensic networkers. How would I say forensic champions? Alright, today's training, it's not a very pleasant one. It's not one of my favorites to do. Unfortunately, it's a reality in our industry. And for the past 3 decades, I've seen it pop its ugly. Okay, I don't know what just happened. Alright. So it does. It's the ugly side of MLM, because in MLM we deal with a bunch of very sometimes unsophisticated and unprofessional people. Sometimes people that come into the industry, they don't come with a lot of success, and when they come in the environment of a good environment of MLM with a good company with a lot of support and training, and all of a sudden they see some success, their egos grow faster than the pocketbook, and all of a sudden it's never about the company, the support, the product, the compensation plan, their team, their upline, sideline, everything else. Not the environment that provided the platforms for them to be successful. It's not about any of that. It's about them. They are the one that made the company, made everybody, and made themselves. And the ego part, the ugly side, comes in. I've always said an ego can either make you or break you. It can make you, it could be positive if it's controlled. If it's not controlled, and very few know how to do that, then I've seen it, people self-destruct their success based on that. And that happens a lot in MLM because of the recognition that people get and on the stage. Over the last 30 years, I've created a lot of six-figure income earners, a dozen or so millionaires, and I've seen some of them self-destruct. And so one thing that happens a lot, and is, again, it's not my favorite topic to talk, but it's important because you're going to have to know about these things, because it's going to come into your organization. You should know how to handle it as a leader, that it is part of it. Sometimes we build friendships with people, and all of a sudden they betray us. They take off to a different company. They try to raid your downline, and it's hard to take sometimes because you put so much time and energy into that relationship over the years. You thought they were genuine. We work towards the same target, and we achieve things together. All of a sudden, for some reason, whether it's because they made a deal with another company or whatever the reason, their ego is out of whack or something, they decide to take off, and all of a sudden they're attacking your organization. This type of stuff happens in MLM. So in the forensic networker, I'm very articulate about things. I give them a name. I call them the MLM bandits. They're the ones that come in and blindfold you from behind the hill. You're kind of going and they just come and not knowing that they try to steal everything you've got. And so, MLM has got a 10% retention, so 90% leave. So this stuff happens a lot. So MLM has a 10% retention. That means 90% leave to another company. In fact, I used to say, MLM, companies are not getting bigger anymore. It's like they're just exchanging customers like Coke and Pepsi. And because 90%, retention is not great. Now, our retention is much higher than that, but we still got people that leave time to time. So this MLM bandit pops its ugly head time to time. And it's the same old story, right? They take someone else's playbook that doesn't ever work, but they do it anyways. The very first thing they do, these bandits, when they decide to make a deal with another company and go, they start bad-mouthing the company. Some of the things you're going to hear, it's the same thing. For 30 years, I've seen this. First thing they're going to say, the company's going out of business. You know why? That's why I'm leaving, right? So they just try to bring down the morale. If that doesn't work, they're going to bash the product, the compensation plan, the owner, the executive team, the upline. I remember one bandit that left, didn't actually leave, sold his distributorship to me for big money, paid him for 9 years, paid him. He had years, he made 6 figures, right? And sold it to me. He says he's getting out of MLM, which he did, to his credit. But then he goes out and he says, if you don't like your upline in your MLM company, quit. Like, what type of advice is that? You don't like your upline, quit the company? You didn't get in for your upline. So the point is, these bandits, they come And they try different things. The company's gone out of business. They create stories, lies, and just to see who's weak. They're looking for the weak one, so they can pick him up and take him to a new company. And it happens a lot. It happens in other companies all the time. This is why I guess the MLM owners are getting very strict. I know Amway, for example, they're run by 40 lawyers. You say the wrong thing, even if you're not a bandit, they send you a cease and desist letter and they terminate you. I know the Malaluka owner, he's known to be very, very tough on these things. 500 lawsuits he's got on the people or bandits in his company. The NERM CEO, apparently he is the one that's most feared right now. He's got 2,500 lawsuits against the bandits in his company. So MLM companies are fighting back, because you're not allowed to come into our organization. If you want to leave, that's fine. What you're not allowed to do is try to raid the company. It's our customer less, it's your customer less. These bandits, they're not taking the people they brought in. If they were successful, they would still be here. They're taking your people, right? They try to raid. It's like, neighbor come and robs your house. You don't expect that. Unfortunately, this stuff happens, and when they decide to do that, they get their story very strong, they practice it, and they're looking for the weak one, And we have a bandit recently, and many of you guys are sending us capture screens of somebody named Laura something, Santis or something. Well, Laura Santis has never been in our company, period, as a VIP or as a partner. So obviously it's a fake account. Is one of our directors just made a deal with another company, doesn't have the guts to come out herself, so she's using this fake account, and she's putting out stuff, fake stuff on Sanaz. She's putting fake stuff on me and the company, so they try, the company's going out of business. If that doesn't work, the product is no good, the compliance is no good, the owner, I saw something the other day that, apparently I'm taking money from the organization as a distributor. Never happened in our history. So they just they come up with all these lies and to see who's weak. So this type of stuff happens. You can't avoid it. Time to time, I think in our history, I'm not as aggressive as other CEOs, but I've taken action on 2-3 people, and it's generally I like people to come in with class and style and leave with class and style, and we've been lucky with that. We've been very lucky. Our retention is much higher, and the ones who leave, we haven't had too much problem with that like other companies, but time to time it comes. We have one right now that's happening. Somebody made a deal with another travel company, and now under a fake account, putting out a lot of negativity and lies about the company. So I felt, I have a chapter in the Forensic Networker. It's called MLM Bandits, and it's one of the favorite chapters for people because, it's kind of hard to get, go through that because I hope it doesn't happen to me because we build relationships, right? But you know what? It's managing expectation. You have to know some of the best people that you thought, they're not so nice. So some people you didn't think maybe they're not that good tend to become your best friends. And so integrity is a rare thing in MLM, unfortunately. When it comes to people who sometimes get ranks. One of the things this bandit is saying is that, everybody's leaving. So we get people calling us and say, well, is everybody leaving? Well, in this bandit, we had a total of 21 people at her rank. 21 people at her rank. And out of that, 5 are not here. 3 of them sold their distributorship for big money. Big money. Well, since the MLM retention rate is 10%, to me, if my math is right, 2 out of 21 actually left, one of them being her. So we got about 85% retention on that. But they come strong, right? And why they do that? Well, because they're desperate, right? They're trying to build a check, right? They're hoping you're going to be the meal ticket. They'll say whatever. They resort to anything. In the case with Sanaz, they're taking her picture, which is really good, way to get yourself in a defamation lawsuit, and put some lies about how she lost weight. And at the end of the day, how low do you have to go? How low do you have to go to be able to attack people even on how great they look, right? So, and make lies about the ownership. And so at the end of the day, I just want to give you a little heads up on that. We're lucky where stuff like this happens once every couple of years, maybe that. I can tell you, when I was on the field like you guys, I was dealing with this on a weekly basis. We're in a PR business. When as a leadership, I was fighting other people departing to other MLM companies every week. You know, our juice is stronger than yours, our complex. This was like a weekly event. So we were kind of used to it. We were battle tested, right? You know, you kind of get into the PR mode constantly. In Opulence Global, it doesn't happen that often. Maybe once a year, once every couple of years. So it becomes a big deal because we're not used to it, right? And it comes out, and sometimes, you know, generally I like to kind of maintain a composure and, you know, class and style. And but sometimes some new people, especially who don't know any better, and if you don't respond, then they think maybe there is something to these rumors, allegations, or lies, and so forth. But it's not our job as a company to do that. As a leader, it's your job to do that as a leader, not our job. Make sure that you have a very strong like and trust with your team. And something like this comes on capture screen. And what's really funny is that we're getting a whole bunch of capture screens. Are people responding to this Laura or Santis person? Well, we know who the person is, but anyway. And it's kind of funny. It's like, you have no integrity, get lost, I'm glad you're gone, you know, all this stuff. So the response is never positive for these bandits. I mean, nobody appreciates this type of attack. I mean, how do you go on and for 10 years and this is the greatest company in the world, changed my life, I retired at age 23, I haven't had a job for 10 years, I traveled the world, this, that, whatever. All of a sudden you make a deal with another company, it's the greatest, worst company in the world, the owner is this, the VP is this. You know, there is no integrity there, right? There is absolutely no integrity there. And so they're just desperate to try to build a check since they made a bad decision. And the last thing I want to talk about this is that why people do that. I mean, I've seen this a lot, and I understand exactly what happens. When people make a bad mistake, right? It's the whole thing, grass is always greener on the other side. In this particular case, an MLM has become kind of ugly, and even Thompson, the MLM attorney, talked about that, is that a lot of companies are giving out deals, right? Contracts and deals and stealing, you know, try to steal leadership level distributors from other companies. It's become really ugly that way. Should not be that way. That's a new development in the last 5-10 years or so. So they make a deal with someone, maybe give a guarantee check for a little while for them to go steal as many people as they can come back. So these people who take the deal, you know, stupid, because at the end of the day, you have a track record here with another company all these years. Why would you do that? But anyway, some make those mistakes, and for whatever the reason, the egos are out of whack, and now they move on. Now, if they were strong MLM people, they don't resort to these ugly stuff. They just go build it again. But 99% of the people who take deals, they're not strong people. So they're hoping to come in and bring the old people from the previous company back to the new deal so they can make money in the new deal, just because they made a decision, they want to ruin everyone else's life. And everyone else in the company, they're going to try to steal from everybody. And when they can't do it, very few people, it never works, very few people have the guts, it happens, but rarely, to call back the company and say, look, I made a mistake, please forgive me, I'd like to come back. It happens time to time. The rest, the egotistical ones, the ones that egos are a whack, they're going through hell now, right? Because they're very bitter and angry, the check is gone. Now they're in a new company, nobody cares about them. They lost everything they had. So what they do now, they don't blame themselves for making that bad decision. They blame the company, the owner, the mistreatment, and Matilda, taxes, Joe, the mechanic next door. They blame everybody why they made a bad decision. Why they made a bad decision, and not themselves. And with this bandit recently, yeah, she wrote about how she was mistreated. Yet, the only reason why anyone knows who she is because I put her on businessforum.org. I even wrote the articles to make it look good. Every stage appearance she's had, I personally arranged it for her to be the trainer. Personally, 10 years. Had no success before us, came to us and made her into somebody and internationally and my connections. And she was under my personal wing. But it happens. You get betrayed that way time to time. And I still wish the person well. I have no issues with that. I mean, people make those. But what happens is they become very bitter because they made a mistake. They lost their check and their family, environment. And instead of blaming themselves for making a bad decision, they blame everybody else, starting with the company, the owner, or whoever. So that's basically what happened. I've seen this happen for 30 years. It's going to happen to you. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because if you're going to have longevity in MLM, if you're going to build anything significant, you have to expect this to happen. It will happen to you. So it's managing expectation. I've built teams of over 100,000 people. Again, I've seen this happen in every company in the last 30 years. This is why other companies have so many lawsuits going. You know, they're trying to stop these bandits from attacking their companies with lies and those type of things. In any event, we don't want to take too much time on this. The reason why I wanted to share this, many of you are asking, can you take action on this Laura, whatever, Santis girl? Well, our people looked into it. It's a fake account under someone else's name. You know who the person is. Danny will address that a little bit later on. You know what? These people will come and try. At the end of the day, they're going to get so many. It's kind of funny because people are sending us the capture screens, how they're responding to them. It's kind of funny. And one person said, you know, I've been in your team for 8 years. You not one time called me for anything. Now you move on to another next company. Now all of a sudden you care about me and you're reaching out to me. You know, you want to have fun with the situation if you get approached. And say, look, so I don't want to hear all the negative stuff about opulence because I love the company. I might like to be here. I don't want to hear the negative stuff. But let me tell you, are you trying to recruit me into another company? Ask that question. If the answer is yes, just get lost. All right? Because that's exactly why you saying these things. And if she says no, so listen, then I don't need to talk to you. I like my company. I'd like to be there. But you see what happens is they always try to recruit you into a next deal. And how they do that, instead of coming with the strength of the new company and the product or whatever, no one can match what we do. You guys know that. So they try to attack me or the company or whatever. So in any event, guys, I just wanted to share. This is like a leadership stuff. But at the same time, new people should know this. Because I know people sometimes get hurt. They invest into a relationship with some of these bandits. And the person decides to leave. My very first company, I'll finish up with this, was a company called Lifestyles, Toronto-based company. And we loved being there. We had a product there. And the top 3 distributors in the company. Top 3, imagine this. Like, say, Reza, Renee, and you know, Sherry, whoever. The top 3 guys in the company decided to make a deal with another company because of ego. That made millions. Their combined income, the top 3, which is Pierre, Tom, and John, combined income was $200,000 a month. Actually, more than about $250,000 a month. But they had made millions. They had no money issues. They were not being recognized by the company because they were not really doing anything. So they got mad. They made a deal with another company out of Montreal. And the number 1, 2, and 3 left. And they tried to raid this company. They tried to attack the company. My own upline, who I consider my mentor, went and started raiding my downline. Long story short is that 2 of them are dead broke right now, bankrupt. It's like 25 years later now. And one of them is doing okay, but he's out of MLM. That company is still going. So that's number 1, 2, and 3. I've seen stuff like this happen. So when it happens to me, it's like, okay, it's another. You know, these guys don't last. And I can guarantee you, if someone can do this to a company that they claim built their entire life for 10 years, in a year from now, or 6 months from now, they're going to find a new company. It's going to be nothing like this one. Because this one, it was home for them. They're going to try the next one. I can guarantee you this person, these bandits, 90% of the time, they'll end up in 3 or 4 different companies next 3 or 4 years, and they get out of the MLM period after that. So, but in the meantime, though, they're going to try to cause a lot of damage because they're unhappy with the decision that they made. But they don't blame themselves for that decision. They blame somebody else. You know, I had an employee one time who we caught him stealing, really cash stealing from the company. And it was a big number too, big number. When I caught him, here's a guy that I took from a donut shop and built him with me over the years, and in this company, and made him an executive, senior vice president. Literally, he was unemployed in the donut shop when I found him, to corner office, Range Rover executive home, and he stole money from me, so he got terminated. He's lucky I didn't call the RCMP, but I didn't want to hurt him that way. And when I asked him, why would you do that? I mean, everything I've done for you. His response wasn't that he stole money because of something he did. His response was, well, you know, I just thought that I deserved it. And that was his response. I thought I deserved it. Okay, so if someone can justify that in their own head, it's hard to explain. So for us, I don't understand it. I just accept it. So same is going to happen with you. You don't understand it. Sometimes these things, just accept it. These bandits will come. They're desperate. They'll say whatever to be able to bring down the morale so they can pick a couple of them, bring it into a new deal. Hopefully you can make them money. They don't last very long. This system never works. It's never worked in 30 years, anything I've seen. But they'll come and they'll keep on. The same old failing rule book will happen. Just wanted to address that with you. There is a chapter in forensic called MLM Bandits. Maybe on Saturday we'll cover that forensic networking chapter. Anyways, team, it was a long forensic live today. I guess because I wanted to share with you some stories about how these things happen. And it's a reality in every company. You're lucky. It doesn't happen too often here. But when it does happen, it almost comes across a little bit. We're not used to it, right? Because we're not battle tested like other companies are. Anyways, says, love you guys. Hey, on a more positive note, in MLM, the slowest months are June, July, and August, especially August. September, things go back to school. People start thinking about, work again. October, November is your cha-ching month. It is your busiest month of the year, October and November. That is your biggest, that's when you make the most money. But what determines how big of a month it's going to be is the momentum you carry into October and November, which is September. Now, to help you, we have a conference coming up in October, right? So we need to pull up our socks, get to work. This is the season. Busy season starts right now. Let's go. MGRS, call qualification, duplicate that, and that is all you need to do in the Opulence Global. There are 3. If you go to your back office today, you're going to find there's a change. I'm not sure if they're activated, but I know it was designed now. If not today, it'll be activated by tomorrow. We have 2 major things coming up. One of them is we go back office. We're going to have a system there now, which is 3 new videos. You've seen some of them. And basically teach a brand new person how to become car qualified and MGRS qualified and cruise qualified. So when somebody comes in instantly in the back office, there's a system. It says your first 90 days. Your first 90 days. Now, we had someone just did the first 90 days with cruise qualification in 2 weeks in Kenya. You saw that, right? So it could be done in 2 weeks. But average person should be able to do this in 90 days. Become cruise qualified. That means you got car, MGRS, cruise, all that stuff in the first 90 days. What a program. That's in your back office. And we have we've been talking about this, the online ordering system is going to be launched as well. The online ordering system is going to be launched where you can pick up the phone, call, your customers can pick up the phone, call, and place an order on the phone. We take care of it. You don't actually. Now, after hours, you can go to your back office and place the orders. That's available to you. But now also an phone system is available to you as well to be able to place an order on the phone. All right, team, that's enough. Have yourself a good day and stay forensic.